Thanks for tuning in again. This is Andy, and this is the Poor Proles Almanac. This week we have an interview follow-up from last week. We had spoken with Vijay Thallam, who has overseen the development of a massive natural farming project unlike anything else on Earth, and we had discussed the crucial role women-led cooperatives played in that process. The Society for the Elimination of Rural Poverty, an autonomous organization promoted by the government of Andhra Pradesh in 2000, has led this agenda. Specifically, Ritu Sarikara Samsa, or RYSS, which Vijay had overseen. Today, we're joined by two of the women from these cooperatives. And that's not all that makes this episode special. For this episode, we had a good friend of ours, Dr. Ayesha Khan, join us to lead the conversation. Her extensive knowledge of a number of native languages and our work together on the Gastropocene podcast made this a natural place for us to collaborate. If you're not familiar with the Gastropocene, go listen to us discuss the concept of food and food sovereignty wherever you're listening to this. You can also find her on Instagram at Woke Scientist, and her long-form pieces can be found at wokescientist.substack.com. And her podcast, Disorderland, should also be on rotation alongside us. There are a few notes I want to make before you tune in here. While we've discussed Vrikshar Veda and to an extent zero-budget natural farming, a few acronyms are tossed around in this discussion. Usha and Vanu refer to zero-budget natural farming, which is the framework for the natural farming program that is common in India. While ZBNF, as it's called, refers to the farming concept, the abbreviation also refers to a concept of polycropping, using short-term crops around long-term crops in the same space. Further, this natural farming is often called APZ or APC, meaning Andhra Pradesh Zero, or its newer iteration, Andhra Pradesh Community Natural Farming. We also hear the acronym CRP, meaning Community Resource Person, which is basically the local expert farmer for this natural process who helps farmers get off the ground and answer any questions about transitioning to natural farming. Lastly, given that this conversation took place across the globe in a rural village in India, we do have moments of poor audio quality. There's only a few spots where the dialogue is completely inaudible, and we've been joined by Nash Flynn to provide a translation over this for ease for our audience. Please, this conversation speaks to a core part of learning to build community again. Listen slowly, listen again if you must. The process of learning and being in community is slow. Take in the wonderful work these women are doing, and of course, please let us know if you enjoy the conversation. I also want to give one final thanks to Vishy Techie for helping orchestrate all of this. It truly takes a community to make extraordinary things happen.
Namaste, good morning.
Namaste. Okay, we can start maybe with you just asking them to describe their experiences with the collective. Yeah, and their personal experiences kind of from the start with how they got involved and how the impact it's had on their lives personally, and then we can kind of go from there.
Hello, madam. Good morning. Okay, my name is Usha.
Continue.
Madam, starting వచ్చేసి
single women farmers. Vanurakka is from Anantapur, which is a semi-arid area, and they first started with tried to do conventional agricultural practices, but which didn't work out. So the family had to undergo losses. So for about 10 years, the land was barren. And after that, APCNS came into the picture and encouraged her to, start with natural farming. And she could see a lot of differences. She started with PMDS, which is a very important, like a big breakthrough in natural farming, pre-monsoon dry sowing. Yeah. And, covering the crops for 365 days, helped retain moisture always. That's what she said. And she also interacted with PM Narendra Modi, a year back. And after that, she was continuously getting calls for about a month because she was like a single woman doing farming, and that too gone, ventured into natural farming in 2018. So that is her story.
Okay.
And Usha also a single woman. She's from Guntur area, where the office is located. Earlier, she used to work in a biotech company, but she realized that she had health issues, thyroid, or she had some hormonal issues, and that's when she decided to move towards natural farming. And she had also heard about ZBNF by Subhash Palekar, who's the father of zero budget natural farming.
She started with ZBNF and 365 days green cover, but she continued to expand in natural farming practices, and she became an advocate too. She started her own talk, a non-pesticide management talk, and she started with inputs for other farmers, because cow dung and urine may not be available for every farmer, and every farmer might not have enough livestock to make all these biostimulants. She would make all these biostimulants and sell it to the farmers, and she would not only sell it, but she would help guide the farmers and train other people in making the stimulants as well. She started natural farming in 2016, and she started a school as well on natural input making, which she sells as well. She buys back from the farmers she sells to as well. She buys back the ghee, so that's how it works for her.
I guess in terms of thinking about, a lot of times our connection with the land itself has been broken, right, as a result of colonialism and capitalism. So essentially we've been turning everything into like a product, right? And that has made it very difficult for people to like reconnect with their own land. I guess a question would be, for them would be, has this process of returning, I guess just thinking about the personal impact that this is having, on their communities even in the long term, in terms of like why we're in the situation in the first place, right? Like colonialism and capitalism have just separated people from their land, right? And commodified, just turned everything into a product. And part of the reason that the land is barren is that constant depletion and impact of like industrial agriculture. So has this process of natural farming actually helped them personally like build a connection again to their own land? And has it helped their communities do the same, like become a little bit more self-sustainable rather than depending on, other corporations, or just being able to take care of eeach other and feed each other and actually like reconnect with the land that they're living on?
There's
Vanurakka says, my land was barren, but now after doing these practices, I can say it's become gold.
Okay.
That's what she says, after doing mulching and 365 DGC. So she has also shown a way to her neighbors. She brings her those other community members or other neighboring farmers to show her land, and now she gets a profit of about 2 lakhs. So that's the thing. And
has it helped? Did she mention that it like helped her build those relationships with those people next door, the neighbors and the farmers next door?
Yes. She has also trained other women to do on the benefits of natural farming. Okay. And brings them, and they together make the biostimulants also in a way so that the other women learn the process of making biostimulants, and eventually, they can move towards natural farming. Okay. And she also says the use of biostimulants has helped, build humus in her land, and due to which, more earthworms are thriving. Yeah. So this has helped a great deal for her to turn her barren land into gold, and also, bringing the other neighbors to show that what changes has happened over the years. Meanwhile, Usha also, when she started doing natural farming, there were many questions. It was challenging for her because the other people would ask, the other community members or her neighbors, will you be able to take it forward? How will you grow the crop through natural farming? So many a time she felt that, that she should always take a step back. Yeah. Whether I would, and it always made her think, will I able to make it, or there's something going wrong within me? Because initially there were The yields didn't come. She started growing with. She started with black ram. Initially, the yield was lesser once there was no rainfall, and she could not see the difference. But eventually, when things happened, right, when she grew black gram, and she started doing PMDS, and doing all the biostimulants, she could see the results.
Yeah. Okay.
And she says now there are 500 seed-to-seed farmers who do from the beginning to end all the practices, who practice who do natural farming practices, whatever, use of biostimulants, mulching, and all of that. So that has motivated others as well. So she says, because of me starting, one person starting, it has motivated the community as well.
I guess two questions that can be asked together. For them right now, it seems like they're carrying a lot of the just because of the design of how they've tried to do this, and they're trying to break out of the mold of how it's always been done. And do they feel like if they had more of a communal foundation, such that the responsibilities of the day-to-day would be split up more evenly, would that make them feel more supported and more just generally have community infrastructure that they can rely on, so they don't have to feel like they have to carry this burden on their back? And with that question, just maybe give an overview of, like, in a week, what does their day-to-day look like in terms of how once they wake up, what their priorities are in terms of doing what they have to do and to tend for the land, and then how their week proceeds, essentially.
Okay. Vanu says there has been that kind of community support. There has been an understanding between community members in a way that today, if I need them, 10 to 15 will come and work on my farm. And tomorrow, if they need me, I will be there along with other people to their farm. There is an understanding. There is one part of the system. That is one part of the system. So in that way, what I do is I plan the day before. If I have to go to XYZ village, I go to that village and see what's happening. I go to meet the farmers. I go to meet the women whom she has contact with. That's the way they plan. So according to the needs, there's always an exchange of labor, of information, More people are always needed to make those biostimulants.
Yeah, so they're always just like connected and exchanging information.
Yes, exchanging information. So that's how her day starts. She gets up at 5 o'clock and then she goes to the village, and next day she tries to do her work.
Okay.
And if some other day, another day somebody else needs her, then she would maybe go there and work.
So she responds to community needs as they come up. So she basically assesses what the needs are and then adapts accordingly.
Yes, she assesses their needs, and she knows next. And one day she'll just see how, I can do my own work.
Okay.
She assesses it, and depending on it, there's always exchange of information, and then it goes forward.
Okay.
That is one. And Usha says that Usha thinks that if we can form like an FPO sort of a thing for all natural farmers. With the concept farm to organization. That's how she has started her. That's how she has started her NPM shop on this concept, farm to consumer. It should go from the farm to directly to the consumer. So
basically, the food that's been grown on the farm should go directly to feeding the people, right? Like, instead of there being any intermediary.
Yes, that's what she believes in, and that's how she has started both her ventures. And she wants, if there is some kind of investments or from the bank or the SAG, where there's a foundation kind of a thing started, it is even better. Everybody, all natural farmers or the whole community will be on the same platform, will come on the same platform. she says it's like that. If we can start the foundation where all members come, and so there's exchange of information. Everybody is on the same platform of natural farmers.
Mm-hmm.
That is one. And secondly, she says, my time goes, my week is like, or my day is like, I have cattle. I have to take care of my cattle, and then maybe I go to the NPM shop. Her NPM shop is there where she supplies inputs. Then she goes to her field. She has a field as well. And there are times, at times the farmers call them, like the natural farmers call them, asking her for some kind of solution. Like they call her, see, look, we have this kind of pest. We have this issue. We have this problem. So what do you think we should apply? What kind of biostimulant?
Okay.
And, they kind of take her advice on those as well. And she has her parents to take care. And then again, she goes to the natural farming output shop, like that organic store, what I was saying, where she supplies pulses, millets, cold-pressed oils, all of that, different products she has. It's in the same town. So she has to go there as well and manage things. And still since her customer base is not just AP, Telangana and other places as well, many more places. So she has a large customer base. Okay.
In response to that, one technical question and then one personal question. The personal question is, do they have time, like this transition to natural farming, has it, and I know Usha spoke a little bit about improvements in health, has it, given how busy they are, has it allowed them to rest a little bit more? Has it improved their overall well-being and happiness and like emotional health? And the technical question, in terms of returning health to the soil and returning the integrity of the soil long-term, and not just the short-term fertility, but long-term fertility, what have been the most, based on their experience, the most effective natural techniques or biostimulants that have helped return the integrity of the soil?
She feels like helping farmers is always a good thing. She's happy to do this. She also spoke about supplying Bengal gram dal to the largest temples, Tirumala, Tirupati, Devasthanam, where we have started marketing to. She is supplying these temples as well. The women farmers feel good knowing that whatever they are making is going to their people and the house of God as a form of pradasam. Side note, pradasam or prasad is an offering or gift made in honor of a Hindu god at their respective devoted temple, and it is also seen as a blessing from that god, which is then distributed among temple-goers evenly regardless of their specific sect or religious orientation, as in it's not just for people who pray to said god. Normally, food, sweets, fruits, etc. are offered as pradasam, and in this case, it would be her offering the biostimulants she made that will make someone else's field fertile.
Yeah. And I mean, they know directly where it's going and they see the benefits of where it's going to. They're not separated from the people.
Yes, exactly. The women farmers also feel like bringing their offerings to the temple draws community temple goers to natural farming practices. You never know. One day they might get a chance to supply new farmers with their homemade biofertilizers. In terms of the best practices that have improved the long-term fertility of their land, the women farmers think that Gana Jivarutham and Bijaruthram have helped quite a bit. And since the place she comes from, Anantapur, is a semi-arid area with downpour rains, she says that when we do mulching, the soil is covered, and this allows every drop of rain from the atmosphere to be harvested. And due to this, she feels like her land and soil's fertility have improved. Nothing is getting wasted. Even if there's no rain, as long as she sticks to these simple practices like mulching, Gana Jivaruthram and intercropping, everything is useful and every drop of rain is harvested. That's what she thinks. Side note, Gana Jivaruthram, which is a solid form of biological fertilizer made with cow dung, jaggery, which is sugarcane-derived sugar, besan, which is gram flour, followed by a 48-hour fermentation process to grow the right symbiotic bacteria. It is applied to the land when it is separated and prepped for cultivation before the seeds are sown. Bijaruthram is made of cow dung, cow urine, topsoil, limestone or lime, water, and incubated for 24 hours, followed by the spread of the mixture on seeds, drying them, and then sowing. The mixture is also used to treat vegetable root saplings to protect them from rotting. It essentially prevents the outgrowth of harmful plant pathogens. You can Google both types and see their different preparations and uses.
Right. Okay. So it's the diversity. It's not ever having one big crop. It's having a diversity of things together.
Diversification has helped in additional income in a way, and that has brought back beneficial insects, more earthworms thriving.
Yeah. So it's also helped the plants helping each other essentially, and all the other brought animals that help each other also.
Yes, all plants, each plants like maybe coexisting together, being in a symbiotic relationship, and diversification has kind of has helped in a very good manner.
I guess it's returned the community kind of like they are talking to each other and they're improving their relationships. The plants and animals are doing the same. The other question I had is a lot of times people think of the farming aspect in terms of just feeding people, but now I think people are realizing the ecology connection to the reason that we're faced with climate change and all of these like flooding and disasters, right? The climate change and disasters are because of the loss of soil fertility and the weakness of the soil because of all of the like capitalism constantly depleting and taking away from the soil at a rate that's not sustainable. So how do they feel that natural farming their role in doing natural farming is not just, to produce these grains and these plants, but also as a way to resist these bigger disasters and as a fight, I guess, for just even the safety of our planet?
Madam, manaku vachesi,
the rainfall, how much rainfall comes. Maybe sometimes, it's a rain-fed area, so it might rain less, it might rain more. But I'm able to take a crop, 3 crops in a year by doing natural farming practices, which in a way has helped, fight climate vagaries, through natural farming. I have been able to achieve that after, 10 years of barren land. So that is, she said that is a very important point. And Usha says that, irrespective of, I have a borewell, so I don't have an issue of water problem. But since I'm doing a diverse variety of crops, and especially during like a flood or a drought or whatever, during this climate vagaries, that is equal for everyone, once it comes. But she feels in natural farming there's only 20 to 30%, loss maybe, compared to a person who's doing chemical farming. So though it is the same for everyone, but somewhere natural farming, has helped to fight that.
Yeah. It's helped feed people even and be more resilient, I guess.
It has helped in resilience and regeneration, and when you see that comparison, it means that has definitely helped me, and so that change was good, like going from going to doing natural farming was good for me.
Okay, got it.
Positive way she said.
Okay, got it. And based on all the time that they've spent growing different grains and plants, and even if it's plants that they haven't grown, I guess, just based on their relationship to the land, what is their favorite plant or crop or grain or even like bird or insect, that pollinator, for example, that would live on their farm, and why?
Okay. Vanurakka make Ayesha, sorry. Okay, Vanurakka says she has a neem tree.
Okay.
She feels that, she just wants to sleep under the neem tree because neem tree is good, the breeze is good. she always feels that. And her favorite animal is rabbit. She sees rabbits around her field, in her field. So she thinks, she says rabbit is her favorite. And meanwhile, Usha says that butterfly is her favorite pollinator.
Okay.
She loves guavas. She likes guavas. She does have guavas in her orchard as well.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she just wants to be in her land or just walk on the soil.
Yeah.
So that gives her, a lot of solace. She finds it very nice to just be there in her field.
I guess last two questions. One, what are the biggest lessons they feel they've learned doing this in the last couple of years, like as the pandemic happened and we saw that how big these issues are in the world, and what are the lessons that they got from their natural farming methods during that time? And then the second question is if people could support them in any capacity, support their work, learn more about their work, and even support them from afar, how would they be able to do that?
I didn't get the second, support their work.
Yeah, if they want to even support like their personal work, if they're entrepreneurs, be able to support the communities that they're involved in and learn more from them, how would that be? Yeah.
COVID వచ్చిన టైంలో
So Usha says that even during COVID time, because they were doing natural farming and she's an entrepreneur as well, she has done door delivery of, taken some kind of permission from the horticulture department and done door delivery of pulses, oil, millet, Jivamritam, Dhana Jivamritam and all of that. And actually speaking, she didn't face like losses. And they made something called like this dung cake kind of a thing. You can burn it. So there's a very nice smell, there's like a mosquito, it acts as a mosquito repellent.
Okay.
So that also sold like hot cakes during that time. She's seeing from that point of view. And she's saying, if there's some kind of financial support and certification, because people from outside of different state, outside of the state, like AP and Telangana, other states, always ask for certification. So if that could be worked out, finance and certification and some kind of transportation, better transportation arrangement to send her products, that could help her, reach different heights or could help everybody's livelihood. Because she employs two women as well for her shop, for this entire enterprise. Vanurakka says that, during COVID, actually speaking after this natural farming, I think COVID didn't affect me much. We were still going to villages, talking to villages, building that connection, engaging with other women. And after talking to PM Modi, she got calls continuously and she actually sent seeds to different states, 24 states, because other people got to know about her, and she sent seeds, what she saved, her own seeds to other states as well. So actually, that didn't much affect, because of maybe I was doing my natural farming, and everything, was made on the land. I didn't really have to go to the market or wait to get it from there.
So she was more self-sufficient and was able to take whatever was on the land and use it. And in terms of the second part, did she say anything?
She says, if there was a vehicle, it is much easier for me to do this.
So transport, basically.
Because, transportation. Because now I maybe take a bus and I just walk or
it seems like both of them say the transportation thing, actually.
But I think for Usha, it's more from supply side, supplying stuff.
I see. Yeah, it's being able to supply all the farmers. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you to both of them. Thank you for telling them.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you.
Thanks, Ayesha.